Cards on the table, I did not want to do this. I started this challenge and published a video in March with the intention of finishing Fallout 4 using only grapple attacks, and I got as far as Kellogg. Now, for those of you that watched the video, you'll remember how we slammed Kellogg's head on the ground so hard that he became catatonic and unresponsive, almost contemplative of his situation. And as of now, I feel a kinship with this Kellogg, a connection. I know how it feels to be in his situation, just existing, just floating on a speck of dust in this universe. Of course, you the viewer only see a 2-minute segment of me fighting Kellogg, but I experience a full hour of doing so, failing and dying. Those of you that didn't watch that video, this is Prime Tyson Angry Beef Marble Scoring 12, named after famed melee combateers and a beef grading system that evaluates the quality and amount of intramuscular fat. And we're about to go through hell together. In Fallout 4, landing a grapple attack is inconsistent at best. You're really just slamming your heavy attack button and pleading to your cosmic overlords to please allow this one to connect. And when it doesn't, as per the rules of this challenge, you reload. So things that should only take a minute or two take me an hour. That's it. That's really as simple as the rules get for this run. You kill using grapple attacks only, unless you have a forced companion, and if you land a normal attack, you reload. Straightforward, simple. And yet it broke me so thoroughly that I sat on this unfinished project for months. I'm having a horrible time. In truth, I hadn't stopped right after I defeated Kellogg at the end of the video. I'd recorded as far as over a dozen hours later, and I just couldn't bring myself to continue. That is, until now. I've just eliminated Kellogg painstakingly over an hour or so. I'd not taken any points and put them into Charisma to skip that segment, and that's fine. Prime Tyson Angry Beef Marble Scoring 12 doesn't need Charisma where he's going. What he needs is more brawn and probably more stimpaks. That was one of the most painful things I have ever endured. So I returned to Diamond City and sell all of my guns and ammo I'll never use for more medical supplies. Losing health is a drawback for bodying everyone by grabbing them by the crotch and power slamming them into the concrete. I returned to Nick's agency fully intending to progress, but also deeply frustrated at what had just transpired with Kellogg. I fail to find release. I reload.
Whether we're riding this crazy brain train or not, we can't all go running across the continent.
I have to go to the memory den either way.
Piper starts to talk, but as usual, what comes out of her mouth is worthless, and Nick just talks over her. Big points for Nick. Very rude, though. Nick suggests we head over to the memory den in Good Neighbor, and I decide to leave both Nick and Piper to make their own way there, as having them is optional and as such against the rules. I say goodbye to Piper's little sister Nat.
Public is here to pull the wool out from
She's a good kid. I was actually so traumatized by the encounter with Kellogg that I'd forgotten to loot him before I left. I'd also forgotten to eat him, but that's neither here nor there. I observed the slimiest Radstag loading screen I have ever seen. The Fallout 4 Next Gen update is really revolutionary. Oh boy, I bet the anniversary update is good. I make my way to Good Neighbor.
Hey, hold up there. First time in Good Neighbor?
You better back off, or you're the one who's gonna need insurance.
What was that? I couldn't hear over the sound of all that pathetic. You keep letting outsiders walk all over us. One day, Tyson.
Now why'd you have to go and say that, huh?
I make sure Nick looks bad while he's chatting up his ex or something. She seems nice. I greet Dr. Amari. Nick scurries into the room after Tyson Angry Beef Marble Scoring 12 like the mechanical beta he is. I skip more of Dr. Amari's lines by grappling her. This makes the dialogue much quicker, you see.
Take a look. But no guarantee.
I'm not ready to do this yet.
Well, you better be soon.
Time is of the essence. Dr. Amari goes to insert the mechanical part of Kellogg's brain inside Nick, but I kick him in the nuts and she accidentally puts her whole hand inside his ass and plugs it into the USB 3 port inside his rectum. This means that when she plugs me into Kellogg's memories, the deeper I go, the deeper I travel inside Nick's ass. We discover that we need to find an individual named Virgil deep in the glowing sea, a highly radioactive segment of the map. Very dangerous.
Oh, I'm going in naked. Fingers crossed I get superpowers.
find Virgil's cave and speak to him with my meat ominously between us, rapidly rotating between lines of dialogue, as one's meat does. And we learn from him that we can potentially get into the Institute with a Corsa chip by ripping one out of the brain of a Corsa. And we can find a Corsa by setting our Pip-Boy radio to a specific frequency while at the CIT ruins. On my way out of the glowing sea, I rub the top of this bald man's head for good luck. The Corsa signal takes me through some raider camps on our way to the next location, which is really not anything we haven't been able to handle before. But that's really where the simpleness of this task ends. You see, there's something wrong with the Gunners and Green Tech genetics, and I'll show you why. We travel through the location as one does. I eat a guy's ass for health as one does. A tree growing indoors blocks my path, as trees do, and I go to grapple this Gunner. Now, I know what it looks like. I'm getting beaten up by a schoolyard bully in the 4th grade, but your grapple attacks do actually interrupt enemy animations when they're successful, and I'm slamming that power attack button as fast as I can. Obviously, I fail. So I reload. I try again in a somewhat secluded spot. I fail again. Strange. Now, normally when Prime Beef Tyson Bingus 14 fails, it's by taking so much damage while doing no throwing damage that he returns to pasta. And what I mean by this is there was an example in one of my previous videos where I would continuously do grapples that do no damage to the enemy, while they would be shooting at me. That was frustrating, but that isn't what is happening here. This is much worse. What you're seeing here is me failing to grapple because grappling does not work on these enemies in this building, and I don't know why. I switched to a melee weapon to see if it'll work, and yes, it looks like it does. But this is a kill move, which is fundamentally different from a grapple move. The lines are blurred here because some kill moves are actually grapple specific, so I allow them. However, kill moves only work if an enemy is in low health, and if their health is near equal to or lower than the damage you would otherwise do with your melee attack within certain parameters and considerations, such as an enemy's armor rating. To confirm this, I continue with the sledgehammer and I one-shot a gunner without a kill move animation. I even get some extremely controlled situations to try and confirm this, and yes, it seems that for whatever reason grapple attacks do not work in this cell on these enemies at all, except for this one gunner a floor up. What the hell is happening? Now, I really don't want to methodically find out why this is happening, so I just decide to run. Yes, what you have just witnessed is me fucking exploding when I pause the game. I don't have a good reason why this might be for you. I don't even have a theory as to why this has happened. But what I do know is I shouldn't be here. This challenge run shouldn't be happening. This is a lesson learned in not listening to my gut feeling about a particular run. By showing me my guts during said run, this run is a mistake, life is a lie, existence is futile, my internal organs are melting as we speak. The only problem is there are dozens of gunners and I only have 5 stim packs to make it through. I'm stuck. I can't move. Oh my god, there's so many of them. Oh my god. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. Oh. 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 Oh no, it's a dead end. Oh. I don't even know why I tried. Yeah. See you, losers. I'm going to be so upset if I can't grapple the Corsa as well.
Are you here for the scent?
I'm here to pick up an order. 2 large pepperoni and a calzone. Name is Fuck You.
Then you're here for me. What do you want?
A calzone.
I've successfully defeated the Corsa. Please comment. I'm here to pick up an order, best guest. 2 large pepperonis and a calzone, best guest. And a hug. I love you, honey. I speak with the synth the Corsa was here to kill, and she tells me to loot the nearby toolbox to access the terminal and free her. I loot the toolbox, I access the terminal, and instead turn on the elevator and leave. I return to Good Neighbor, I grab Hancock by the Hancock and power slam him into the concrete. I'm not sure why he's so mad. Anyway, I'm explaining to Dr. Amari that I dealt with the Corsa. Even though she can implant me directly into Nick's ass so that I can view the memories of a dead guy, she's too stupid to decode the Corsa chip, so she sends me to find the railroad. Which is narratively kind of weird, right? Because they're a super secret group she's potentially endangering. Instead of asking me to go back and grab the Corsa's brain so that we can find memories of him, I don't know, using the Institute tech to teleport into the Institute, but I digest. This one guy falls over a brick and instantly dies. So sad it can happen to any one of us. Anyway, speaking of potentially endangering the railroad, I kill none of the ghouls on the way to the hidden entrance beneath the church. I enter the railroad password, log into the email, and use the one-time code sent by passwords@church.com, bypassing the two-step verification.
Stop right there.
I'm just exploring. Looking for 2 large pepperoni and a calzone.
And then I'm unreasonably unhappy with how this one guy talks to me.
Don't try anything, stranger.
So I power slam Glory, but I notice her health bar barely budges. This is really terrible. Maybe I should take care of the other members first. I load game to try again. And I notice Glory is still on the floor. She has been quantum power slammed through realities and is now power slammed across all my save games. Such is the power of Prime Tyson Chicken Tendies 12.5. It's really quite strange. But I for one celebrate her newfound multiversal broken spine, the kind of thing Marvel wishes they could write about.
Hey.
Talk to the boss.
I power slam Desdemona, and Glory has moved in her spot despite the fact that she has not got up. This is a simple scientific concept called quantum tunneling, whereby the particle, Glory, has passed through the barrier of being downed and moved to a new position because she lacks the energy to overcome this challenge in a traditional sense.
Talk to the boss.
Then a challenge all becomes quite a bit straightforward. Tinker Thomas the Dank Engine decodes the Corsa chip. Desdemona gets suspiciously uncomfortably close to me and says some dialogue that I absolutely did not absorb due to this. I see Virgil in the glowing sea with the decoded Corsa chip codes, and he gives me the schematics for a signal interceptor into which I can use the Corsa chip code to hijack my way into the Institute and rescue my son Seamus. Now, I figure I've done the Minutemen and Brotherhood questlines in my videos before, so I decide to go and join the railroad this time.
Willing to brave some danger to stop the Institute and their nefarious schemes?
I'm here to pick up an order.
But if you're risking your life...
I return to Sanctuary to let Power Preston know that we need to build the signal interceptor in Sanctuary, and he agrees and lets me know I need to speak to Sturgis. Sturgis is supposed to tell me what I need to collect to work on the machine, but he actually still needs help with the basic living conditions in Sanctuary, something I was asked to help with a long time ago but ignored entirely. I do everything I can to ignore this further.
Do I look like a carpenter to you?
I don't know what...
Do I look like a carpenter to you?
I don't know...
Mm-hmm. Do I look like a carpenter to you?
I don't know what you look like.
Mm-hmm. Do I look like a carpenter to you?
I don't know what you look like.
Uh-huh. Do I look like a carpenter to you?
I don't know what you look like.
I'd be glad to help.
Okay.
Please believe me, I tried everything. I furnished the finest living quarters on this side of the Commonwealth. I plumbed this steel tap directly into the dirt. He informs me that the farming will be plentiful. I sow the most powerful seeds upon this fertile land. I greet the people of the sanctuary.
Do I look like I want to chit-chat?
I dislike Marcy Long. She is a rat. I establish a system of law and order. Marcy Long is subject to the system of law and order. I get distracted and get into a fight with Wolfgang at the Drumlin Diner. It's a really weird fight, to be honest. Anyway, I'm not sure why I do this in hindsight. I have ADHD. I rendezvous with Deacon for our mission. We then meet with our contact, Ricky Dalton, who is frustrated that he's been pinned down and outmanned by some Institute synths in the area. Understandable given his whole loadout appears to be this one knife.
It's about goddamn time you headquarters bastards got here.
I'm no fan of his attitude, so I throw him off the overpass, which was like actually pretty bad in hindsight. I think I was having a pretty bad ADHD day. I say this because I fight him in the wilderness for like a solid 20 minutes. I'm not sure why I'm like this, but it's the way I am. I clean the slate by sitting nearby on a chair for 7 days and 7 nights so that Ricky has some time to calm down. I finish the dialogue with Ricky so that I can get on with the quest, and then proceed to beat him up for a further 15 minutes or so.
You need something else?
Anyway, Ricky let us know that the item we're meant to pick up for the job is in the sewers nearby, so we head on over. I consume the flesh of Deacon's downed allies in front of him. I have no problem dispatching the Synthonies parts, but La Nucaracha? I can't grapple those, so Deacon, our forced companion, has to deal with them. There are a whole heap of synths up ahead, and I charge in heroically to then immediately fail and have to reload. I try again, and I absolutely lay the smack down on these tin cans like you wouldn't believe.
Hostile sensor reading detected.
This is Bingus Fury's most brutal beatdown yet.
Offline. Your destruction is inevitable.
This one synth even patiently floats downstream of the basement puddles to rest before we punch his entire head off. I am melee combat Jesus, I think to myself, before we immediately proceed to slurp on the irradiated basement water to restore HP. This place isn't very difficult to deal with. At times I fail because the grapple mechanics are half-baked, but for every time I reload, I simply get to freely dismantle the low-level synths again one by one. The damage reduction on Kellogg's armor is a massive addition to this challenge run. We open the security door in which the MacGuffin is located. I consume Tommy Whisper's flesh. I share a moment with Deacon to quietly contemplate the fallen. I dismantle some household appliances for the people of Sanctuary Hills, and we ride the elevator out of there. Upon our return, Desdemona lets us know that Deacon vouches for us. This clearly upsets Tyson Mike Bison. But all of this leads us to progress. Tinker Tank Engine divulges the secrets of how the Institute's signal interceptor will work, and how to build it. I thank him for his service. I head back to work on our elaborate signal interceptor device, and I'm going to explain exactly how this works to you. First, we place the stabilized reflector platform. Then we construct a molecular beam emitter. We place the relay dish. We place the control console. We set up a series of gas power generators because we don't need to care for the environment if the environment is already totally fucked. We run a series of power cables from said power generators to this one pressure plate, which we then connect to the control console. We then construct a series of scaffoldings upon which we mount Mama Murphy's chair. Now, haters will say there's an easier way to do this, but you simply do not understand. It is not the basic materials and tools that get this job done, but grappling with artistic expression, the human cost of progress.
My old man taught me that duct tape could fix anything.
I pick on Sturgis between tasks. You see, Mama Murphy is the key to all of this, the key to saving my son. To saving the entire Commonwealth. How, you ask? Why is she floating in the sky, you ask? All will be revealed.
Mentats will give us the right high for another insight into your destiny.
Here you go.
Ah, that's it. I can feel the sight opening up. You're standing with outcasts. The lanterns in the dark. The chems. Let me get in my chair and we can talk. I need Med X this time.
Yeah, here you go.
Oh, it just makes everything feel good, don't it? We're gonna need a heavy hitter for the site to keep working, kid. Buffer ought to do it.
Here. Go easy.
Oh, God. Ticker just lurched there a few times. I usually like mixing Psycho in with something else, but I'll need it straight this time.
I've got it.
2 large pepperoni and a calzone.
She lands on the pressure plate, her death leading the way for me directly into the Institute. I consume her flesh for HP, and what results is a massive civil war between the Minutemen and the Railroad. Those who agree with this consumption, and those who do not. Quite puzzlingly though, they do not attack me, just each other. This goes on for quite some time until everyone simultaneously all forgets why they are fighting, are no longer hostile with one another, and put aside their differences to send me into the Institute. Desdemona gives me a job to do, to speak with someone named Patriot or something. I don't know, man. I don't really listen to her. I do, however, put the holotape into the computer like they ask, and then rapidly forget whatever else I'm meant to do. The problem with this leg of the quest is every time I do it, I kind of get overwhelmed with excitement. I'm going to see my son again. The Institute, it's amazing. Clean, radiation-free. You catch a glimpse of what life can be like under the tutelage. The lean protein they probably produce that would massively benefit a man such as Beef Tyson M. Bison Psycho Crusher. I put on my finest outfit to greet my son.
Sean?
Huh? Yes, I'm Sean.
These bad people, they stole you from me.
Father, what's going on?
Those
what's happening?
bastards.
Father,
they
help
took
me.
you from me.
Father? Father!
I'll kill them for
Go
this.
away.
All of them.
There's someone here. Help me.
You're not Sean!
Your name is 2 large pepperoni and a calzone. Fuck you.
It's good to finally meet you. After all this time, I am your son. They They stole you. Kidnapped you. Is it really so hard to accept that it was not 10, but 60 years?
Liar. My son could never be a nerd. Any resemblance is purely coincidental. Now I am the Institute. And something strange happens. Someone starts firing at me from Father's private quarters. My mind races back in time to a moment in a prior Fallout video I'd done where I noticed an NPC trying to breach through the confines of the physical barriers. And I realized this could be them. They've succeeded. The mortal shackles broken. Their body, the physical form, is uncontained. Their soul free of the confines of this flesh prison. Damn, that tastes just like the real thing. The synths just outside Father's chamber are no match for my blistering speed. You see, by this point, despite the goofy talking and the messing around, I've actually had a really hard time. All the jokes is simply copes. What I haven't actually shown you is how something as simple as killing Father takes multiple tries and multiple reloads as a result. Meaning I'd watch that cutscene several times more than I'd ever want to again. So running past a few synths really is a luxury to me. The sparks of relief to ignite the most meager flicker of joy. Tiny crumbs of dopamine. A final hurdle before I can leave the Institute. I reload. I try again. I reload. I try again. I get the final synth down to its last sliver of health. I must reload. I try again. I have to reload again. 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 Eventually, I'm there. I may leave the Institute. It hadn't even crossed my mind that I might be able to leave without engaging the synths because by this point, my mind is totally frazzled. For every good interaction you see, every fun little compilation, there are actually several reloads required. So much so that the total amount of files for this video total at 26 hours of footage despite the save game, by completion, only having 16 hours on file. This should give you some indication as to where I'm at mentally. But I figure I made it out. Now I just have to get back to Desdemona at the railroad and get started on the final leg of this challenge. They are all hostile to me. Now, I'm not super sure why this is, but I have a pretty bad track record of doing things in these titles that negatively affect one's reputation with factions. I beat on Ricky Dalton for like 20 minutes in the wilderness at one time. I consistently, repeatedly grapple, throw, and punch various NPCs every few minutes. And I also didn't do anything Desdemona asked me to do while I was in the Institute. I was supposed to meet someone in there called Patriot, I don't know. I also ate a heap of Deacon's friends in front of him. At this point, they have like several reasons they could want me dead. And you know, I could have simply walked away, waited 7 days and 7 nights somewhere, but by this time, I was so mentally broken, so psychologically defeated by this challenge, that I slaughtered the entire railroad faction using grapple only attacks for catharsis, so that I could feel something. Anything.
You mess with nuts.
So, they're all dead, leaving me with a couple avenues for progression. One being the Minute Men. But with the Minute Men, you need 8 settlements to progress to the next stage of the quest line, which is to then famously take over the castle. I notice I have a quest in my quest log to help a settlement already. Oberlin Station. I arrive in the dead of the night, the 2 settlers sleeping soundly. I wake the woman. This wakes the other woman. I eat the women. And now that the settlement is empty, vacant, I interact with the workbench which claims the settlement for my faction. No quests done, everyone dead, 1 out of 8 settlements gained. I race through the dialogue with Preston.
I've got something a bit different for you.
We gaze at each other longingly.
Our scouts have found a promising spot for a new settlement.
This man cannot help himself. This time it's Sunshine Tidings Co-op, a settlement known for being infested with ghouls. Ghouls that cannot be grappled. Now, I don't really have a plan on how to liberate Sunshine Tidings Co-op, so I simply run around and hope that the environment will liberate it for me. You know, I'd had such a hard time up until now that watching these ghouls beat up a dog to absolutely zero retaliation really drove home that feeling of helplessness. So I run further away to a nearby gunner's outpost, and they seem to have much more of a fixation on me than the ghouls, that by the time I was able to derive some satisfaction from my victory, I was already turned inside out with despair. I head back to Sunshine Tidings, claim the settlement, and kind of just let it all sink in. I'd need to do this 6 more times. So I turned the game off, and I didn't look at it again for 8 months. You know, when you think about it, the railroad turning on me and then me destroying them single-handedly with grapple attacks is kind of a blessing in disguise, because eventually the Brotherhood of Steel turns on them and you can't grapple attack a suit of power armor. So perhaps the Minutemen is the better of the 2 options. Now, what I can power attack are these 2 settlers at 10 Pines Bluff. That's 3 out of 8 settlements. County Crossing is up next. That's 4 out of 8. Finch Farm is simple enough. 5 out of 8 settlements done. I think about taking Starlight Drive-In, but then I remember the mole rats need to be removed first, and I can't take them out with grapple attacks, so I scrap this one. Hangman's Alley is the next one I think about, so I make the run over. I take care of all the raiders, get to the last one, and reload. I make the run all over again. I take care of the raiders, I explode this one guy's head. I then fail. So, I reload. I make the run there again. I obliterate the raiders. I kill their leader and I successfully claim Hangman's Alley. That's 6 out of 8 settlements. Somerville Place makes up the 7th settlement, and I don't have to worry about an 8th because I've already discovered and claimed Red Rocket near Sanctuary. With Preston satisfied, we get the quest to retake the castle for the Minute Men. I watch on as Preston runs effeminately towards his designated position. Unfortunately for me, Mirelurks are immune to grapple attacks, so there's nothing I can do to help. Fortunately, I have the Minutemen who will be doing this all for me. Unfortunately, even the smallest threat can explode their fucking heads. Now, as you can imagine, this goes horribly. The Minutemen are not essential to the story, and so they die when they're effortlessly overwhelmed by the Mirelurks. All who are essential are Preston and this other guy, White Preston. With the outermost Mirelurks destroyed with relative difficulty, I'm tasked with destroying the egg nests around the castle. Sadly, I cannot grapple the eggs, but what I can do instead is actually collect them all to complete the stage of the quest, and have either Preston or his white counterpart destroy the spawn net hatch while doing so. Well, that's what I would have thought, because doing this made me realize that some way through the cleanup, Preston has vanished, leaving only White Preston to work on the Mirelurks, the hatchlings, and the Mirelurk Queen on his own. I search for him everywhere, and I find him at Oberlin Station, farming potatoes. He is now also hostile to me, and all the memories of disappointment, all those feelings of despondency from 8 months ago, they all come flooding back in a wave of utter joyless disillusionment. I beat the ever-loving shit out of Preston until his character model literally breaks, like the rest of the save game, I suppose. But this time, I'm not going to take an 8-month break from this challenge. I'll see it through to the end, god damn it. I experience bugs in games all the time. This is not new. You can do this. This is easy. This is simply a Bethesda title doing what Bethesda titles do. I wait for 7 days and 7 nights, and absolutely nothing changes. Preston has fully abandoned the castle for potato farming, leaving White Preston and myself to kill the Mirelurk Queen and all of her babies on our lonesome. And by White Preston and myself, I really just mean White Preston, as I'm unable to grapple anything. So I must wait patiently and do random things around the castle, but without going too far, you see, because otherwise White Preston and the Mirelurks form a truce, soft-locking this challenge. However, when this happens, if I simply pancake flip my boy, the Mirelurks find this amusing and start to pick on him. As you can imagine, this takes an agonizingly long time. I'm so bored, Elder Scrolls 6 could kill my boredom before this can. Most of the time, I'm just sitting here watching White Preston recover from being vomited on while simultaneously not trying to get barfed on myself. I know there's probably some creative solution to this, but I think I've tried it all. I don't know. It's like the universe would rather I die of old age because it knows if I were any sharper I'd be a weapon. My grandest contribution to this whole debacle is how I clear the Mirelurk infestation of the castle by consuming 12 Mirelurk eggs in one sitting, further clear the fort of eggs, then consume another 24 in a second sitting. I'm only slightly irradiated as a result. I thought it would be fun to do a quick calculation as to how many calories this is, by the way. So first I have to find out how tall Beef Bingus is. If a Fallout front door is 1,000 pixels top to bottom, and a standard door frame in the US is 7 feet or 6'8", assuming this is 7 feet, that is 213 centimeters, with prime fat being 793 pixels, which is 79.3% of 1,000 pixels, that would make him 79.3% of the height of 213 centimeters at 168.9 centimeters, which is 5'6". Let's just assume he is 6 feet tall at 183. If 183 is 1003 pixels, then the Mirelurk egg at 302 pixels is 30.1% of 183 centimeters, which is 55 centimeters. If the average ostrich egg is 18 centimeters long, then that would mean a Mirelurk egg is 305% larger. If there are approximately 2,000 calories in an ostrich egg, then, not necessarily accounting for volume or differences in species, we can estimate a single Mirelurk egg being 6,100 calories. And if my boy ate 36 Mirelurk eggs within an hour, he has consumed 219,600 calories. And if 7,700 calories accounts for 1 kilo of body mass gained, or 2.2 pounds, we can extrapolate from this information that Beefman gained 28.5 kilograms of body mass in a single sitting. That's nearly 63 pounds. In case you were wondering how he got this powerful physique, Wonder no longer. Also, in case you hadn't noticed, waiting on this decrepit old lady to kill Sarge in the castle basement has absolutely destroyed my psyche. She's absolutely dog shit at the worst of times, and a sludge of prehistoric amoeba at the best of times. There are even times where she'd just cower and run away from danger, and yet the devs wrote her as the younger, soft and weak personality with absolutely none of the substance to back it up. Bacteria is braver than her. As you can imagine, being unable to progress and having to rely on this massive downgrade from White Preston is soul-crushing. Even regular Preston, who took a break from helping to go and do some farming at Oberlin Station, got more hits in than this. Eventually, it's over. I consume General McGann and I leave the bunker. The next step in the main story is to build artillery for the castle. I thought as a funny prank I'd build the artillery cannons indoors so that Preston would instantly obliterate himself upon firing. However, we can't have shit anymore. The next step is the defense of the castle from an attack by the Institute. Now, normally someone with a soul would look at me and stop kicking me because I'm already dead. But the universe does not do that. The universe only consumes and consumes until we all die of the heat death or something. So strategy 1. I hide and wait to see if my settlers manage to defend the place. They do not. My second strategy is to seal off every entrance to the castle and build a series of turrets along the walls and see if that will handle it. And this works for the time being, but then it stops working because the synths have destroyed all the turrets and keep clipping through the walls to destroy all my Tatos and hurt my impressive lover White Preston. I have to think of something else. So strategy 3. Leave the castle entirely to go on a scrapping adventure. I travel to all my other settlements to gather the materials for turrets. Not enough for a lot of them, but enough for some. Then I fast travel back to the castle several hours later, seal myself into a room so that there are no entrances or exits the synths can get into. I duplicate hundreds of the materials I need for turrets by pressing the scrap button at the exact same time I release the store button on the materials, while in this room where no one can get me until I have enough to make about 50 turrets. I then sprint around the top of the castle walls, place all of my turrets and watch for the magic to happen, for the game to play itself. Of course, what really ends up happening is the synths manage to destroy every single turret along the walls, leaving me to play runaround mechanic, having to repeatedly repair turrets in the hopes that everything dies before I run out of materials, culminating in perhaps the most miserable victory in any video game I have ever played. And before you say this breaks the rules, I'm not gonna go around and grapple 100 enemies, man. Alright, let's be real. I did think about this bending the rules a little bit, but I think because I didn't kill anything directly that this is acceptable. The next step is sneaking into the Institute through the sewer system, which seems to be quite a bit simpler than constructing an apparatus by which we molecularly teleport within, so I'm all down with that. Kinda weird narratively though that we find a sewer after we go through that hassle. I see little reason to fight anything really as we have the Minutemen right behind me, legions of White Prestons all storming the gates like ants. Many ants. The Institute sewer is an anthill now. The clever design choices of the Commonwealth's most secret society lead to this door right here. This door leads directly into the bioscience labs. Oh boy, sewers have never been so useful. I use a stealth boy to sneak past the entire lab into the main central foyer area. And this is where things become as they have always been, you understand. You see, to progress here we have to defeat all of the synths in the general area. This is absolutely an impossible task for me on my own, but the Minutemen, they're mandatory for this section of the story. At first, I'm chasing down synths, going hard at it, you know, successfully grappling, failing to grapple, reloading. You know how it is from knowing how it isn't, which is that it isn't easy. The truth is, this is really kind of futile, you know? The grapple challenge itself isn't necessarily about carefully planning out your next moves, but by throwing more meat at the problem time and time again, because the perfect strategy, the perfect loadout, the ideal conditions, all of it can be undone by simply not having the RNG required during your next heavy attack. By having the enemy shove your whole head through your whole head into your whole ass. I'd reflected on something Preston said to me earlier on, that he wanted to save the civilians, as many civilians as he could. So I started to chase the civilians down specifically and take out my misfortune on them. I would eat the remains of the Minutemen in the lobby while I'm clubbed to death. I'm not saying cannibalism is the way, but let's be real, there's no correct way to do this really, so I just hide. I hide behind what is probably a vat of people goo to be converted into new synths. And I watch. I simply watch on as the Minutemen throw people into the flesh blender that is the foyer, infinitely. Oh my god, is that Sturgis? No, never mind, he's dead now. The Institute had become a meat grinder, all for my lack of participation. This is something perhaps I would have to grapple with myself for the rest of my life, only without the safety net of being able to load whenever I want to. It just goes on and on.
A regrettable occurrence.
I'm biding my time now, waiting for victory to come to me, being wise with what years I have left of my life after this challenge. You know, perhaps the grand irony of all of this is time has us ourselves grappled within its fourth dimension, unable to escape, three-dimensional beings caught in a whirlpool of atrophy, and we're meant to accept this as natural. But like most circumstances of life, it's inescapable. You can do things, you can achieve things, you can fail at things and grow as a person. You can do things now because you can't run from time, but it always had been catched up with you all along. And while we live, we wait. We wait. And we wait. I'm waiting for what feels like forever, eternity. But you know how it is, that's just how the pussy crumbles. I assist with one of the last synths, but the very final one, perhaps in a cruel twist of fate, the very last synth has had its leg blown off, and as such, I'm unable to grapple it. Instead, I must stand behind it and patiently wait some more. For Preston, or nondescript Minuteman spawn fodder to deal with it for me. Naturally, they throw a fucking Molotov at my head to kill the synth and we're done. Being done with the area, having lost hours of my life to waiting for this challenge, for this game to play itself, it is not triumph I feel, but emptiness. A void where feeling should be, where feeling once was. Familiar rooms, familiar faces. I'm not sure why my son's body is still in this room. It has been weeks in game, but you know what? I don't question it. I'm not sure after this challenge that I will question anything much anymore. As I said, there is only emptiness. Cold where there was once warmth. I find another civilian.
Where'd you go?
And that void, that cold persists until moments before I leave the Institute, when a young boy comes up to me. He is the synth they'd programmed to believe he is my son, my little Sean at 10 years of age.
Please, Dad, don't leave me here. I want to go with you.
All right. You can come with me.
Really? Do you mean it?
On second thought, no.
I hate you!
You're not Sean! You're not Sean! Your name is too large pepperoni and a calzone. Fuck you.
I burned down the final hurdle and its curtains on this challenge. I'd like to thank the patrons while I gently shoved this Minuteman off the roof of this building with a barrel. Without you all, I would never have been able to grapple with the financial burdens of modern day living, so for that you have my thanks. Damn. Oh, please like and subscribe, dogs. Also share the video, I need it. This pain, all of this was for you. Algorithm gods be good. Peace in the West, you understand. I understand. Oh, honey.